Hello and welcome back to the Skipper's View podcast, episode 199, brought to you by one of our leading partners, Chinook Seedery. Go to chinookseedery.com to go get any types of seeds you'd like, going from jalapeno ranch, smokehouse barbecue, lemon pepper, all the way to the cinnamon toast. Again, that's Chinook, spelled C-H-I-N-O-O-K, Seedery. Use the Skipper's View to get a 10% discount, and that is the Skipper's View, no spaces, no capital letters, for 10% off seeds. Guys, we have so much to talk about today. We're going to start with the All-Stars. I think the biggest thing that's come out of this is one particular player making the roster. Obviously, every year we got our snubs and guys we think that should make it. But this year, the focus, it seems to be on Julio Rodriguez, outfielder for the Seattle Mariners. Hagen, I'm going to let you start on J-Rod. Obviously, AL outfielders with better counting numbers, Ceddanne Rafaela, George Springer, Joe Adell. I know you were doing a little bit of looking at this right before we got on here. What's your take on J-Rod making the All-Star game over some of these guys? And he was selected by his peers before we jump into it. It was not a fan ballot. It was by his peers. So what does that tell you, and what are your thoughts?
I mean, it tells me that the players really don't care too much about who they're voting for. I mean, all you have to do is look at the first number they put on their OPS and see that he's under 700, see that he's a league average hitter this year. I mean, I said right before you hopped on here, just in WRC plus this year, he's the 23rd in the American League outfield alone. I mean, Trevor Larnach is a better hitter than Julio Rodriguez is this year. I mean, you can argue, okay, yeah, the WAR up there, but if you're going to take the WAR, you might as well take Ceddanne Rafaela, who's got 0.4 higher than him, and he has a higher WRC plus. I mean, I think there's probably like 7 guys off the top of my head I could probably name you that are better than Julio Rodriguez this year. I mean, Kick Dirt Baseball talks about all the time, like, this dude's not, we talked about earlier today, like, is he a little overrated at this point just because, I know he's a second half type of guy, but, I mean, is Julio Rodriguez really a league average hitter? I mean, him being an all-star just blew my mind. I mean, obviously there's a few other guys, but this is the one that really surprised me the most because I don't know if any baseball fan even thought he was even going to be on the team. Like, I don't think anyone would have even thought about that in the first place. So it really surprised me in that aspect of things. I guess George Springer died. I mean, he's one of the hottest players in baseball right now. He's second in WRC plus among all AL outfielders this year. 2 wins above right now. He's phenomenal this year. I don't really know why Julio Rodriguez is an all-star.
Ethan, do you have strong thoughts on J-Rod?
I mean, if Julio Rodriguez is an all-star, why isn't Trent Grisham an all-star? To be completely honest with you, Trent Grisham right now has the 5th highest WRC plus among American League outfielders at 135. I saw a tweet as well. The Mariners, I think, DFA'd Rowdy Tellez, who I think right now has a higher OPS, more home runs, and around the same amount of RBIs. That is wild. Granted, the F4 value is totally different. I get that. But in terms of like the counting stats that people are voting into the All-Star game, Rowdy Tellez, the guy that they DFA'd, still has a higher OPS than Julio Rodriguez, which is crazy to say. And even looking at the numbers yesterday when I was recording with Toby, I did not know Julio Rodriguez had a sub 700 OPS. I understand this has been a second half guy pretty much his entire career. But if you told me going into, I mean, almost mid-July that Julio Rodriguez OPS would be below 700, I would have thought you were crazy. And granted, the WRC plus has been around where it was last year. It was actually a little bit better. It's still kind of concerning what we've seen like the last 2 years in terms of the first half with Julio Rodriguez.
I'll say this. I am a Julio Rodriguez super fan. I have dozens of his rookie cards. And you know this, Hagen, I have him rostered on virtually every one of my fantasy teams. He was voted in by the players, not the fans. So what this tells me is, you know how we talked about Lindor in the last episode about like those guys who like should be getting perennial all-star appearances and they get snubbed. I think that the players kind of realize this and they know Julio Rodriguez is an all-star. And yes, he's a slow starter. And this year, definitely slower than honestly the past few years. But I do like J-Rod. I think that, you know, the players are giving him the benefit of the doubt here. And I did look at it just like, I know counting stats aren't everything. The guy does have double-digit home runs. He has double-digit steals, 43 ribbies. it's not great, but like, Julio can go on a tear coming out of the All-Star game. Who knows what happens if he knocks in like 9 home runs rather quickly? He's going to be 20 plus home runs again. He's 5 bases away from stolen bases. He might have that before the All-Star break. So who knows? I know the All-Star actually probably won't, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's like Julio Rodriguez could really turn around really quickly. So I think the players are just giving him the benefit of the doubt here with this one.
I agree there. I think they are giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I remember, I want to say it was a Trevor May video he did like last year talking about what's the voting like from the players' aspect of things. And he was saying that the players really don't care too much about this voting. A packet's left on their bench after a game, before a game, whatever it is. And, I mean, they could care less about, and they're not checking in like us on guys. Oh, how's this guy been since whatever, May 1st, like this, how's he doing this? They're just looking at the names and they're just going, all right, this guy should be an all-star, this guy should be an all-star. I mean, if you pull up just the votings on what they did, the players-wise, you can tell they don't give a shit. Because there was a lot of dudes who were stubbed and a lot of dudes who were like, huh? Like, what? That guy who was voted in there? Like Julio, for example. So I can't blame the players because they have a lot going on in their life. Obviously, I don't think they don't have time to really check in like we do on a lot of these guys and how they're doing and who should be the all-stars or not. But, I mean, we got to figure out this whole all-star thing. It starts with the fan voting, which is awful. Get rid of that. Abolish that. And we got to figure out a better way to vote these guys in to get actual all-stars in this game.
What if they made like qualifications? Like you have to be like top 3 counting stats amongst your your position or something like that, or top 4. And then there's like player voting from there once it's like really trimmed down. I think that could be an interesting way to look at it.
I agree with this, like the standards and stuff like that. But even if they want to like keep it the way it is, just don't call it the All-Star game. Like make it something totally different because granted, yeah, like these guys are busy, but for guys that were like fringe, for like a Jonathan Aranda, who's like now representing his country of Mexico, can like finally go out there and was barely an all-star. Like for some of these guys, like you could even say Cody Bellinger right now. Cody Bellinger, Randy Rosarena, Trent Grisham have all been better than Julio Rodriguez. And I think if you were to ask them if they cared about it a little bit, they'd probably tell you so, because at the end of the day, this means something to them. They're going to Atlanta to be around the best players in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. That's also an interesting take. I agree. I do. Like, they might have to pivot the way they market this thing and the way we look at it. But are there anyone else? I do want to bring up Clayton Kershaw with his legend pick by Rob Manfred here. So he'll make his 11th All-Star game. I think this is the perfect guy to get in the All-Star game for his 11th one. I think Manfred nailed this one, actually. I think Kershaw's time is limited. We know we've talked about him, how he's not only a top 5 lefty pitcher of all time, and I think most would agree with that. He's arguably a top 3 pitcher of our time. And, I don't know how many innings Kershaw has left. And I really love that Manfred picked him using that pick. So did you guys think there was anyone else that Manfred maybe was in his consideration there for the Legends pick? Or do you think he just knew Kershaw's it?
I don't think there's anyone else you'd go than Clayton Kershaw, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Well, is there anyone else before we hop off the All-Star conversation? Is there anyone else that you guys think really got snubbed on this, for rosters this year?
Yeah, so I got 2 here, and I know it's hard just because of positions on who the guys were ahead of them and that values, but right now there's 10 players in Major League Baseball with an OPS over 900. 2 of them did not make the All-Star game. That's Michael Busch with a 950 OPS. Yes, I get that you have the Pete Alonso and Freddie Freeman that you're probably not getting in over, but you can make the argument with Matt Olson, because especially too, I know Matt Olson leads in WAR, but like, do we really care that much about defensive value at first base? Like, I really don't give a shit about your WAR if you're a first baseman that much, to be completely honest. And I know this one's going to come off as a homer too, especially after bashing a Braves guy there. But Juan Soto, I mean, how is Juan Soto not an all-star here? This is what infuriates me. This is what happens when you vote Ronald Acuna Jr. as a starter into the All-Star game, a dude who hasn't even played 50% of his team's games, and he won't do that by the time the All-Star break hits. But because the fans like him a lot, you're not going to get the actual dudes who should be all-stars in the game. I mean, Juan Soto's been a top hitter in Major League Baseball this year, and I don't know how he's not an all-star. That one hurts me a lot, and that one really makes me mad, especially with Acuna getting started.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people even that are listening or watching, Michael Busch is the highest WRC plus among all qualified first basemen in Major League Baseball. Granted, yeah, he's kind of a platoon neutral guy. Like, he's only going to go in there against right-handed pitching. But at the same time, you could even go with his teammate Seiya Suzuki. Granted, he's a DH. It's going to be hard to get over guys like a Shohei Ohtani or a Kyle Schwarber. Seiya Suzuki has been unbelievable. It's the only guy in Major League Baseball who has above 75 RBIs. So I could definitely go with those two. Trey Turner too. Like, there's just a couple that definitely deserve to be in there. But yeah, I think leaving out Michael Busch is criminal. I mean, you could look at it in terms of WRC plus. He's been the most productive offensive first baseman in Major League Baseball, which is crazy to say.
I have to, Hagen, I was at the 3 home run Michael Busch game this weekend in Chicago. Let me tell you, not only do I back your claim here on Michael Busch, but oh my goodness, that was the coolest, one of the coolest games. And I've been to a few very cool baseball games. That one, I've got a Julio Rodriguez foul ball. I got to see Jeter break. I think it was the all-time Yankee hit record or jump like second on the list. I forget. I'll have to fact check me on that one later. But and now this, I got to see the most home runs hit by the Cubs franchise in franchise history with 8 this weekend. And Michael Busch was a large portion of that, contributing 3. And then Seiya Suzuki hit 1 as well. So speaking of, both those guys, the Cubs are for real. They should have got more All-Stars in this game. That's for damn sure. And, Michael Busch, oh my goodness. What that's such a great name to throw out there. Ethan, how about you? Anyone else that you want to comment on, or are we good to jump off the All-Stars?
No, I mean, I just think Michael Busch and Seiya Suzuki, and I mean, I think Trey Turner as well.
And I mean, just one on the pitching side. Just we've done all hitters here. I think most obvious one. I get the National League pitching is pretty stacked, but I mean, Andrew Abbott not being an All-Star is kind of crazy to me as well. I know I've kind of viewed him as a regression candidate at points, but I mean, the dude's been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball this year, and it seemed like no one really talked too much about him being snubbed either.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think I made a post that I said Andrew Abbott's probably, you could argue, the biggest snub of the All-Star game. I mean, he's been unbelievable this year for the Reds.
Yeah, and I kind of blame Cincy fans for not getting him in there. Just the way it's set up, you'd think like stack the ballots for him. But we gotta jump. We got a lot to talk about, and I want to, I'll let you start with this one, Hagen, just being the NL East fan here. The Nationals part ways with manager Dave Martinez and the general manager Mike Rizzo. So the senior vice president and assistant GM Mike DiBartolo has been named the interim GM, and I saw earlier Miguel Cairo is now the manager. Do we think the Nationals jumped the gun here? What are our thoughts on what the Nationals are doing internally with this, mix up at manager and GM?
This one honestly kind of really surprised me at first, but then the more you look into it, it really didn't. Just with, the manager thing, David Martinez kind of threw his team under the bus a couple weeks ago, so I think we all kind of thought after that, it was like, all right, he could be getting fired here soon. But Rizzo is the one that surprised me a little bit, especially because a lot of people say he's great at finding talent and stuff like that. But then you look at it, and can you tell me, can you truly look at this Nationals team right now and tell me there's a good baseball player that was not acquired in the Juan Soto trade? I would argue that Nathaniel Lowe is probably your best player on the roster outside of that. And Nathaniel Lowe, a first baseman that got $7 million, gets like $7 million a year, something like whatever like that. He's not a huge bopper. He's just kind of a first baseman. Didn't really get traded for much in the offseason. This team is pretty much built around the Juan Soto trade. Granted, yeah, you should they hit on that. You got to have some credit for the players that got back in that deal, because you can only see 4 or 5 guys all pan out once you get a player like that. But this team is just, if you took those guys out, they might be worse than the Rockies.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I don't feel too strongly, just considering like the Nationals they're not irrelevant, but they, CJ Abrams really kind of disappointing this year. I felt like the Nationals could really leapfrog in the division, considering the Braves are still not, being the Braves. And the Marlins, we knew were going to be down for a while with Bendix, like doing a complete overhaul and rebuild in Miami. The Mets, we knew were spenders. So I thought the Nationals would really be a strong wild card contender, not a fringe to non-contender at all. And some teams need, a change of pace, and it works. So we'll see. Let's I think we come back to this discussion later on this year. I think this is a little bit early just in the season. And Ethan brought it up right before the episode. The baseball season is long, right? And like we got the All-Star break in 5 days, essentially. I think it all gets started, right? July 12th. And there's a lot of things that are going to happen at the deadline. I think the Nationals could, acquire some people, and like you got to give the GM the ability to make season changes. And every team gets active at the deadline. And how many times do we see a team, transform themselves from acquisitions they made at the deadline and become that much better? Like who knows who the Nationals pick up, and they could get that much better. Maybe get veterans on the cheap that they don't have to pay long term, but they can make them compete now with James Wood and Mackenzie Gore and company. So I don't know. Ethan, you got any strong feelings on the Nationals here?
I think the one thing that like we didn't even really touch is like look at the drafts that they've really had. Like look at Elijah Green. Like Elijah Green was supposed to be like kind of the next big thing coming out of IMG. He really hasn't looked that promising. And it's really rare that you fire the GM and the manager at the exact same time, especially too that they're in a situation where they're having the first overall pick in the MLB draft. The timing of it is absolutely crazy. The Nationals, in my opinion, I think we're going to be a team that was hovering around 500. They've been really disappointing, to be completely honest, other than the World Series stuff. And even if you go and look at the contracts that they've kind of extended and stuff like that, a lot of them like really haven't panned out either. So I think getting new faces in there, this is a young core that's probably going to be really good next year. CJ Abrams is still having a pretty solid year. James Wood is emerging as one of the best players in Major League Baseball. And you can even look at probably maybe the worst aspect of the trade is Robert Hassel III, who is still a really solid ball player as well. The Nationals have a bright future. They have a lot of stuff to look forward to. And I think the move didn't really shock anyone because what the Nationals have put out the last couple of years, I think they're more than capable of being a better baseball team than what we've really seen from them.
Good take. Another NL East thing going on this week. Pete Alonso said he won't compete in the home run derby. Hagen, Mets fan, what do we think about this? I think this sucks for baseball, honestly. I love Pete Alonso in the home run derby.
It does feel weird that he's not going to be in the home run derby, but it is going to be nice. I don't have to hear these, it's his World Series jokes anymore, because I did like Pete Alonso. He came out and he said, I got a lot of things working for me right now. I just kind of want to enjoy the break. I've never enjoyed the full 3-day break of the All-Star break, so I give him props and, hey, just relax for a little bit. You're one of the best players in Major League Baseball this year. You're playing out of your mind, having a career year. Yeah, relax a bit. And also, too, I know he's kind of saying at the home run derby, he's almost like the Mac McClung in that sense. Granted, he actually plays Major League Baseball, also like McClung, who's in the G League, but you just kind of throw him out there every single year. But I also get to, you can't just keep going out there. He's lost the last 3 home run derbies. I think it's a point, if you lose 3 in a row, you shouldn't be in it anymore. I don't really care who you are. So it just would have been worse if you lose 4 in a row. So it is kind of nice to have him out of there, but at the same time, it did kind of surprise me a little bit because it just felt like Alonso was the biggest shoo-in for any event in baseball every year.
The Mac McClung reference was so elite. I had to credit you on that. The Mac McClung mention was great. I will say, though, the only positive about this, and I've been saying it for a few years now, my dad, who's just behind me, fully agrees with this. A lot of players after the home run derby that are in it don't do well in the second half. A lot of their swings get messed up. They're completely out of timing. It's not 10 outs anymore. They're going out there and they're swinging the baseball bat as hard as they can and taking not their best swings for, I think, around 2 minutes. So honestly, I think Pete Alonso not doing the home run derby will probably help the Mets this year, because you'll see with a lot of these guys that have been in the derby, go and look at the second half splits post derby, they're not good.
I'm pretty sure that Aaron Judge, didn't he won it, right? The home run derby at one point?
2017.
I think in Miami.
Yeah,
Wait.
in Miami.
What's up? He won it down in Miami, you're saying? Okay,
Yeah.
so he did. I want to look at his 2017 splits. Hagen, if you could pull that up while we go through this, I'm pretty sure he was miserable after the home run derby, if I'm remembering that correctly. I could be off, but I'm pretty sure I remember like why did he do this? This seems so dumb if you're gonna like be this bad. And like Ethan, I totally agree with that sentiment. I'm pretty sure like he's
dude, look at Randy Rosarena post home run derby. Randy Rosarena post home run derby was not the same baseball player. There's a couple other dudes as well that just were not good performers after that. Granted, like they're a lot better, but in terms of the overall players, because they're Major League Baseball players, but I'm telling you, it does not, like, your swing gets completely out of whack because you're training for that for a few days. You're going up there and you're taking 50 hacks in 2 minutes. So it's not the best.
And Judge in that 2017 in the first half put up a 198 WRC plus. The second half still put up a 145 WRC plus, but that's a pretty large fall there. I mean, even in that second half, he had a 939 OPS, but he hit 228, and he was Kang at 32% of the time.
Yeah, and for those that don't understand, a WRC plus 100, I'm pretty sure, is league average, correct? So
Correct.
Aaron Judge was 200% better than the league during the first half of baseball. The next, he was about 1.5 times better than league. Like, that's a huge difference. And like, I shouldn't say he was miserable, but he's miserable for Aaron Judge. And like that, the Judge we've known to come and love. So
just for correction, so it would be 100% better than league average because it'd be the 100 to 200, and then that.
Sorry, yes, 40, and then 50,
45%.
Every point above 100 is how much percent better you are, and vice versa if you're negative.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not a math guy, and that's not even math. It's just knowing how to say it. So that's why I sell shit. Let's talk. Talking numbers. By the way, Zach Wheeler, 12 strikeouts against the Reds in a 3-1 masterpiece this week. Zach Wheeler now on the year through 18 starts and 116 innings pitched has 148 strikeouts, a sub .85 whip. And he's got a 2.17 ERA with 9 wins and almost 5 WAR. Holy shit. Zach Wheeler is the best pitcher in the National League right now. I don't want to hear Skeens talk. He is the best pitcher in the National League. Guys, if he replicates this, he's going to be close to 300 strikeouts in the second half. He'll probably get maybe one more start before the All-Star break.
I've said it a few times on the show, and I think Hagen agrees as well. I think this is the year Zach Wheeler wins the Cy Young Award. I mean, he's on a complete other level right now. You can look at the ERA and stuff like that. Zach Wheeler's expected ERA, granted, Zach Wheeler's regular ERA is 2.17. His expected ERA is 2.2. It's 0.03 more than his actual ERA. His FIP right now, which if you have a low ERA and your FIP is high, it means that you're getting very unlucky, or you're getting very lucky, excuse me. His FIP is 2.49. So Zach Wheeler right now, in terms of what he's able to replicate, in terms of the actual numbers and the advanced numbers, are equally checking out. And Paul Skeens recently hasn't been as good. Yeah, he had 10 Ks over 5 innings in his last start, but Zach Wheeler far and above right now, along with Tarek Skubal, are the top 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball. They have been on another level their last 10 to 12 games.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that ERA and his xERA and his FIP there, because Zach Wheeler's ERA, his xERA, his FIP, and his xFIP is virtually the exact same. But if you look at Skeens, his ERA is 1.94, his expected is 2.52, his FIP's 2.37, his expected a 3. I mean, you could say some regression's due for Skeens. Granted, I mean, Skeens gets a little bit more ground balls. He has, a way better home run to fly ball ratio there, so that plays why for the lower ERA there. But I mean, Wheeler's walking less guys. He's striking out more guys. He's leaving less guys on base. I think I'm with you too. I mean, I think this is the year that Wheeler kind of gets it done here. Granted, we're kind of saying this when he's on a really hot stretch right now, and Skeens has struggled a little bit lately. But I also think too, the reason I think Wheeler in the Cy Young is because I don't trust Paul Skeens to go 90, 95 pitches when down the stretch when the Pirates are out of it by 20 games. I mean, the Pirates are this guy at all costs.
That's a great point, by the way.
7 innings. They're gonna keep cutting him off short because they care about him more long term because they're not playing for shit this year. So it's just. I don't make betting advice, but if you were going the Cy Young, I mean, Zach Wheeler is plus odds right now, and taking into account that he's going to overtake him in the innings because Skeens his innings are going to get cut a little short here a little bit at the end.
I mean, right now Zach Wheeler is striking out almost 11.5 per 9. He hadn't even had a clip near 10.5 in his career. Zach Wheeler right now is probably pitching the best of his career. And really quick shout out to Paul Skeens. I think Paul Skeens has like a 1.93 or a 1.94 ERA. He's 4-7. I don't even know how that is humanly possible that he's doing that. And we're not saying that Paul Skeens isn't on the same level as Zach Wheeler, but right now what Zach Wheeler is able to replicate, I think him and Tarek Skubal are probably the only pitchers that go out there on a regular basis. You know exactly what you're getting. They're probably the only two pitchers where they allow more than 2 or 3 runs. You're like, wow, like they did not pitch at their level because they have been that good this year.
I'm glad too you brought up that Skeens record there, because I'm someone, I hate the win stat for pitchers, or at least I think you should, at least if you're going to use a win, at least look at did the team win the game, not did the pitcher get you the win.
Right.
What I think about it. But I mean, this is literally, I mean, Codify put it out the other day. This is literally like the worst record in the 19-game span to have a sub-ERA, 90 or more strikeouts since 2018 Jacob deGrom. We talk about how funny it is, how bad that Mets offense run support was for deGrom that year. It's literally the closest thing to it is this Pirates offense with Paul Skeens this year.
Paul Skeens went 5 innings with 10 Ks last start. They lost 1-0.
And I believe the run was scored the first inning came out.
Dude, that makes me hurt for Paul Skeens. I shouldn't ever hurt for that man. He's doing just fine. But I hurt for him in that situation, like just being so goated in a situation where like you can't do anything else better to like better yourself or your team at this point.
Paul Skeens is that Lamborghini meme where he's the Lamborghini in the shitty house. That is right now Paul Skeens on the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's what it is.
That's the best way to describe it right there.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And it sucks too, because like I don't know if there's anyone more in the league who could give a shit about his stats and just cares about winning more than Paul Skeens, and his team does not win when he pitches.
Bro, he's 4-7 with the sub-2. That makes no sense.
Dude,
no sense.
I think it's his last 12 starts. He has 1 win, and he has like a 1.2 ERA or a 1.7.
Paul Skeens, really quick before I'm sure we move on from him, he had 8 starts of 6 innings or 2 or fewer runs. He won 1 of those games. 1. I don't even know how that's remotely possible. 8 starts with 6 innings with 2 or less runs, and I think with like 7 or 8 Ks, he won 1 of the games.
I mean, it's genuinely
Insane.
comical at this point. Like, it's hilarious for how good he is for him to like not win games. It makes no sense to me. Like, obviously, we've been bashing this Pirates offense this entire season. I mean, I said in your chat earlier before this, I'm not a banana ball guy. I'd rather watch banana ball than watch this Pirates offense right now. That's how bad this Pittsburgh Pirates offense is. They're not supporting Paul Skeens at all. And this is the same thing we had in the all-off season and call coming into the year is, what did you do to support Paul Skeens and his pitching staff? Because if you look, too, on pitchers, like Mitch Keller's getting screwed, too, every time he goes out there and pitches. He has the most quality starts in baseball this year without getting a win. It's ridiculous.
Mitch Keller will not be a Pittsburgh Pirate in a few weeks. You don't think he's getting moved, Ethan?
I kind of like that now, to be completely honest.
I think him and Heaney are both going. I think they're going to try.
I think Heaney for sure is.
Heaney's for sure going.
Sure
Mitch Keller, I think Mitch Keller can get them some. I think they can get a legitimate like prospect bat for Mitch Keller. Heaney's going to get them like a 16th round outfielder with like some promise from like, you know, Sewanaka Hills Community College and
yeah, right.
Yeah, like
shout out Sewanaka Hills.
I don't even know if that's real. There's a Sewanaka by me on Long Island, and I just dropped in a random name there. But you guys know what I mean. You know, and sometimes it pans out. Look at Tarek Skubal. Where did he go to school? Do you guys know? That'll be our trivia question.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask a trivia question. I think he did go to Seattle.
University of Seattle. I believe he was an 18th round pick.
He went to
Seattle, Washington.
Oh, good call, dude. Nice call.
Hagen's crazy, bro. That's an insane poll. Not even a Tigers fan either, by the way. Like that's an insane poll.
That is insane. Good for you, Hagen. Good for you, Glenn Coco. Mean Girls. I don't know if that's Pat or before your guys' time. That movie
might be a little before me. I've seen it before, but
okay. Astros, they are on a heater, and we named the episode after them. So we're going to take some time to talk about Houston right now because I think Houston can get really, really creative and really good at the deadline. So the elephant in the room is we don't know what Jordan Alvarez's status is with the hand. Everything else, though, seems to be clicking in Houston. So Hunter Brown, he made the All-Star game. We got Jose Altuve. He just passed Jeff Bagwell for second all-time on the Astros all-time hit list. He's now trailing Craig Biggio, who had 3,060 hits in 20 years. Altuve not only can get the 3,000, he could beat Biggio. So we have weapons in Altuve. Hopefully Alvarez is back. We know what Jeremy Pena and Yanier Diaz are. Guys, what does Houston do at the deadline here to get better?
I think they're probably adding a starter, to be completely honest. The offense right now it is absolutely unbelievable, and I'm not even trying to like stray away from the conversation. I know Jacob Wilson's like a slam dunk for AL Rookie of the Year right now. Cam Smith over his last 30 games, around a month, he's been the 12th best hitter in Major League Baseball. So there was a lot of talk about the Cam Smith and the Kyle Tucker departure. This team is firing on all cylinders. Isaac Paredes has been unbelievable. Yanier Diaz has been stepping it up over the last month and a half. But I think they probably just add in the starting pitching department, to be completely honest.
Dude,
just with all the injuries that they've had.
Jake Myers batting 308 on the year. Christian Walker, he just went on the paternity list, but Christian Walker hasn't even done what they think he could do. And if you give him a little, like with Alvarez getting added at some, I'm assuming Alvarez will be back. I do not assume his season is done. I don't know why I'm assuming that. I feel like more would come out if his season was done. I think
we haven't heard anything about Jordan Alvarez. It's so weird, to be completely honest.
And that's what I was going to say too. I think if you're looking at what they're going to do the deadline, I think a bigger thing would be, is Jordan Alvarez going to be ready for the postseason? Because I think we all trust Jordan Alvarez enough to give him, if you just gave him even 2 to 3 weeks before the playoffs and then get right and then you have the playoffs with him, you feel fine about that. But I mean, if he's not there, I mean, I think you could go out of bad at this deadline because you have like just the roster resource right now. Right now, their DH is Cooper Hummel. You have Taylor Trammell playing left field for him. You got some guys in there. If you go to the bench right now for him, it's Cesar Salazar, Zach Short. Oh, I didn't even know it was in the major league still. Shea Whitcomb and Kennedy Corona. I've never heard of a couple of those guys, and I've watched a lot of baseball.
Shout out Kennedy Corona.
Yeah, I was gonna say that name's awesome.
But I agree with Ethan, too. I think you have to get a starter here. I mean, the bullpen's the second best bullpen in baseball by ERA, best by FIP. So I think the bullpen's fine unless you did want to kind of add somebody there. You can always add bullpen if you want a little more depth there. But I would say maybe a bat. Obviously, there's not that many big bats at the deadline this year, at least seemingly so. So we'll have to see. But I think a starter is the biggest need if I had to pick one.
I mean, dude, the Houston Astros have the 4th best ERA in Major League Baseball coming into today. Like, They don't even really have a weakness right now. Granted, like they could probably use a left fielder. I would love Taylor Ward in the Crawford boxes. I think that would be a great fit for them. Just go out, slot him in left field. He's probably going to, I think that would be honestly a solid pickup for them, but definitely look for them to probably add a left fielder, maybe even a DH bat if Jordan doesn't come back. But I know we spoke about it last episode. The fact that we're not hearing really anything about Jordan Alvarez for the last almost 2 months of the season is just so beyond weird for me. And I don't know. There was another guy that had the exact same injury as Jordan, and it was the same thing. We didn't hear anything about it because he was out for, I think, 3 months.
I mean, if you had Taylor Ward and Isaac Paredes with those Crawford boxes, I'm
telling you, bro, that would make sense.
And I was going to say, I think the Houston Astros are more likely to trade for a middle tier pitcher than they're not going to go after Sandy Alcantara. I'm looking at it. They have the prospects to do it. But if they did, they'd be giving away their number one prospect in Bryce Matthews for sure. They'd be giving up maybe Jacob Melton, who's been in the MLB, he's on the injured list right now. Maybe McGill, Uloa, and that's 3 of their top 4 prospects. I don't know if they have to include another one just to make it a sweetener, but they're probably going to add. I would love to see the Astros. I wouldn't love to see it because it's the Astros, but I'm trying to think who would be a really good fit for Houston, and a couple names came to me. I thought about Mitch Keller earlier. Opposite divisions, they don't play each other. I would let maybe even Heaney and Keller come over in a deal, and they move over a prospect because that solves your starters 4 and 5, and you get Arrighetti back. soon. I think Arrietty's playing catcher, throwing off a mound already. So, it could get really interesting for Houston. And Taylor Ward, if they're able to pull off some with LA, that'd be insane.
Dude,
Like,
I could see like Ramon Laureano too. Like Ramon Laureano's played in that division for a lot of his career too. He probably knows Houston well. And this guy's pulling the ball a shit ton. He was there to match lefties. He's not doing that. He's crushing right-handed pitching. I think like a Taylor Ward or a Ramon Laureano, they don't need an over-the-top bat because the offense bangs. They don't really have that much of like really a weakness. Fourth best ERA in Major League Baseball. Cam Smith's been on fire. Isaac Paredes has been good. Even Christian Walker, the last like 2 weeks has been pretty solid. He went to LA and does what he usually does, hit bombs there. So I think a Taylor Ward or Ramon Laureano like really puts them in a good spot.
I do like that Ramon Laureano shout. I mean, he's 15th this season in air pull percentage in all of Major League Baseball, which is, I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for if you're a guy going to Houston and go play there at the Crawford boxes. I mean, and even too, like I really like that one a lot, actually. I mean, if you just look at the expected home runs, I know that's something we kind of look at more in the off season that we talk about more, but I mean, he's got 10 this year. He would have 12 if he was in Houston right now, which, I mean, that adds up over the course of the season. That would end up being like a 5 difference by the end of the year.
Yeah. Honestly, this is why I love the deadline. Like I do this in every sport. Free agency.
It's my favorite part of the year. Other than it's so good. Just the draft too.
Predicting guys and being totally wrong. Who's going to trade for who? It's great.
That's the best.
I told Sam and Tyler that we need a podcast here, and I want to do it during the All-Star break when there's not games going on, where we just recap all of our hot takes from last year and how bad they were. I had everyone go to freaking Seattle, of course, and like no one went to Seattle. We'd love, I think it'll be pretty funny to do. So let's talk about a few injuries and movements with rosters this week. Brandon Woodruff, he returned after 652 days since his last MLB pitch. Who wants to take this one to talk about Woodruff?
Hagen, you can go first.
It was awesome to see the big boo back out there. I mean, it seems like he's been delayed for a while now, but it's awesome to see a guy come back already, just be on the mound, because we've been looking forward to this. It feels like for a couple months now, we've been saying, oh, Woodruff's right around the corner. They're going to get him back. And now Milwaukee, I mean, they're 2.5 games back, and you get him back. Obviously, you can't expect him to go do 6 innings, whatever. You have a great start list every single time out there, especially a guy coming off 2 pretty big surgeries. So you don't expect this every single time from him, but this is very encouraging to see, and this is a big boost for Milwaukee. Because, I mean, dude, I'm with you. I think the Cubs are going to win this division still, but, dude, Milwaukee, we always know they're going to be there. Like, I always say that they're going to be within 3 or 4 games of the wild card every single year, no matter what the roster looks like. It seems like, whether the roster you like it or not, they're always in that wild card game or right there next to it. And Woodruff's huge for him. I mean, by the time you're hoping he's going to get 10 to 15 starts under his belt by the time October hits. If you have him in a game 2 or 3, that's pretty good to go after Freddie Peralta, who's been an ace this year.
I mean, yeah, Milwaukee to me is like the Cleveland Guardians of the NL. It's a team that everyone overlooks, and as soon as they kind of get going, they always sneak into a wild card spot. But yeah, Brandon Woodruff looked really good. The fastball velo was like 92, 93, so you could probably expect that to maybe increase as the year goes on. But the fact that he went out there and shoved, and I love that his wife was there. I don't know if you saw the clip of his kids reacting to the strikeout too. It was great for him. It was great for the family. And I mean, you have Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, Jacob Mizorowski, Chad Patrick, and you can throw in whoever else.
Quinn Priester's been solid.
Quinn Priester's been good. Stacked.
Dude, Milwaukee's a factory. A factory. I think they're Tampa, Cleveland, Milwaukee, whatever their pitching, coaches and units are doing, copy them. Everyone else should just copy what they're doing because they're doing it right. And then, we could switch and pivot here from Milwaukee. I'm going to talk about the Yankees for about a minute. We talked about this, Ethan, right before we hopped on, and I think we could do a whole episode on this, so I don't want to dive in deep.
We could.
The Yankees are in a very, very, very sensitive state here. And this comes on the back of Clark Schmidt now getting set for Tommy John. He's been very, he's been solid. He's been really good all year that he's pitched. And you got Aaron Judge. Realistically, at his age, you have 2, maybe 3 more years of like elite production, unless Aaron Judge just honestly tips the scales and like breaks the age barrier, which people do it. People do hit till they're 40, but like he's a bigger guy. I'm just projecting that, he maybe like he's obviously very in shape and stuff, but he's just big. And like, I don't know how that's going to hold up when he's 35, 36, 37 years old. And then I wish him all the best, but the Yankees have 3 years with him realistically to really go for a World Series run. It's not going to be this year. Cole's out for the year. Luis Gil's been injured all season. We don't know like where he's at. I know he's been like throwing and stuff, but like realistically, is Luis Gil added to a staff with Rodon, Fried, Yarbrough, Will Warren, and now Cam, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Cam Schlittler from the prospects.
Oh, Brad.
I think I got it. He looks like a dog, Cam Schlittler. I had to say it again. But I think the Yankees, like if this prospect and doesn't tear it up, they're relying a lot on Ryan Yarbrough and Will Warren. And I don't know if those guys are like they're not shut down in the playoff pitchers. They're great for the regular season. And we might win a lot of games and win a wild card. That's not what Yankees, the organization or the fans are interested in anymore. They're interested in titles. And it's been 15 years, 16 years since our last title, 2009. So I think the Yankees either need to get really aggressive internally and make some changes. And I'm not calling for anyone's specific job, but I think a lot of Yankee fans, they're going to call out Aaron Boone. They're going to call out Brian Cashman that it's time for a shakeup. I'm not calling them out here and now. What I'm saying is, I think Steinbrenner needs to either get aggressive internally and be like, this is not the direction that's working and has not been working for 16 years, or he's got to look at it like, this is the direction we're going. We're going to get super aggressive right now because we're the Yankees, and we're going to go make that trade for Sandy Alcantara to do whatever it takes to get a stud, a third stud pitcher, because Rodon and Fried are dogs. And if you get a third starter like Sandy Alcantara added to this, that's a legit chance with a couple of bats that they need to make a World Series run. I'm going to pause there. We'll see what they do. I don't know if they're going to get super aggressive at the deadline, or I think they need, changes internally.
Brett, you cooked. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I do just real quick want to comment just on the Yankees is, I think when you look at this, like you said, that there's after Rodon and Fried, who Rodon struggled a little bit lately as well. Who do you can't trust any of those other guys in the rotation to give you a start in Game 3. At that point, it's just you're pretty much rolling with an opener for Games 3 and 4. And I think I see a lot of Yankee fans say, "Oh, you have Luis Gil coming back," but you can't just trust a dude who, I get he was the rookie of the year last year, but that dude can lose his control any minute. I mean, I love Luis Gil.
By the way, shouldn't have won rookie of the year. By the way.
No, but did
I not say this right before the episode though? That like I don't even trust Luis Gil to come back and shove again.
I mean, that's the thing, you can't though. Like, he's coming off a big injury. You can't just expect him to come back and do what he did last year and have a phenomenal ERA, especially a guy in the postseason. I don't want a dude out there in the postseason who can just lose his command all of a sudden in the first, second inning, and it just ruins the whole game.
The Yankees' outlook for me is so weird. I told Brett before the episode, other than Aaron Judge, and if Jazz Chisholm is on the field because he's dealt with so many injuries now. Cody Bellinger's been great, by the way. Other than the first month of the season, he's hit 300 in every single month. Outside of those guys, who is stepping up in that offense? Jason Dominguez has been hot. I'm not trusting Jason Dominguez in the playoffs yet. I'm really not even trusting Trent Grisham, to be completely honest. Anthony Volpe is like a shell of a prospect that people were kind of making him out to be. I'm just not buying the Yankees this year. Like, I don't think it's even a hot take. The rotation is so injury decimated right now. Clark Schmidt is going to be out for the year. Other than Rodon and Fried, and I'm still not completely all there with Rodon, to be completely honest with you. I just think the outlook this year is not the best. The farm is completely depleted outside of George Lombard Jr. and Spencer Jones and maybe like Carlos Orange. Other than those guys, who else is really in the farm? it's tough. It's a lot of aging veteran guys on the team. Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, maybe to extend them, but it's kind of like bleak right now. And I said it, I think on the last episode and even on my show, I think in terms of the future outlook, the Yankees are probably in the worst position in the American League East. If they didn't have Aaron Judge, they would be probably cooked.
And I'm glad too you brought up their farm system because it's not like they're primed. Oh yeah, we can go buy guys at the deadline here because George Lombard Jr. You're not trading him to anybody. He's not going anywhere. So like that almost means you got to get rid of Spencer Jones, who's whatever your second or third ranked prospect. You have to get rid of him if you want to get anybody this deadline. Which the Yankees are probably going to buy this deadline, which means your farmers can even more decimated for a not very good farm system.
It's not good. And Spencer Jones is very polarizing too. There's probably teams that don't even want to touch Spencer Jones with a 10-foot pole. Think double A or single A, he had the highest whiff percentage among everyone and the highest K percentage. So
I mean,
it's bleak.
OC said today, I mean, everyone compares Spencer Jones to Aaron Judge. He said he's probably more likely closer to Joey Gallo than he is to Aaron Judge.
Dude, don't cook him like that. Not yet. But you're not wrong. He is a polarizing prospect. The Yankees, dude, I just looked at their contracts. Like, dude, Stan is signed through 2028. If the Yankees could find a suitor and like pay half his contract for that suitor, like here, take a power bat. We're gonna pay half his contract. Like take him. Like him.
Even Cole. When Cole comes back, is Cole gonna be remotely the same pitcher? I'm not buying the Yankees. I don't think so.
I don't want to be like that Mets fan here, but like, can you not see why Juan Soto went to the Mets? Fan. Can you not see why Juan Soto went to the Mets?
No, this is the reason why
5 years down the road.
He didn't go to the Mets over $10 million difference or whatever came down to. He did not. It was enough about the Yankees. It made me really upset, guys. I'm really sensitive about this right now.
You're supposed to talk about the Yankees on this podcast too.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Spencer Schwellenbach, speaking of teams that are supposed to be good and they're not doing well, the Braves, they lose Schwellenbach to the IL with a fractured right elbow. He's had a disappointing year overall. He was up there where like this year Brandon Lowe was really pitched. Spencer Schwellenbach was a hot fantasy pick. It just not worked out for him in 2025. He's had injuries, hasn't pitched to where we think he could be. I'm hoping he's not out for the rest of the year, but we'll see. It's a fractured elbow. I can't imagine, he's coming back from that in a rush, especially given the Braves situation. The Angels, their rookie Christian Moore, he's placed on the 10-day IL with a right thumb sprain. Christian Moore's an interesting little player, so I want to see him really get going in years 2 and 3. And I think the Angels are going to be intriguing for the next couple of years as well with the moves that they've made. Tampa Bay, Ethan, Ha-Seong Kim, back from the 60-day IL. How excited are we?
Ha-Seong Kim plays 6 innings with the Tampa Bay Rays and then immediately gets injured. You can't make it up.
I missed that because
he's back. So he came in. He had a calf injury. There was going to be an IL stint. I think it's going to be day to day. And then it's like, okay, like we've been playing without Ha-Seong Kim for the last 90-ish games. Oh, by the way, Brandon Lau has a side injury. I'm praying to God it's day to day. It's not an oblique, because that would be absolutely brutal for the Rays if Brandon Lau has an oblique injury. And we've been playing some bad baseball.
The nice thing is for Lowe, even if it is an oblique, we're heading into the All-Star break. He's going to get some time taken off without them playing like regular season games to like rehabilitate this thing. So hopefully they get it in front of it, because I think that would suck. I love Brandon Lau. Guardians, this one's interesting. Guardians placed Luis L. Ortiz on the restricted list because of an ongoing investigation with the MLB. So he's there's an investigation. Supposedly after his first 2 pitches, they got flagged for unusual and gambling activity against the Mariners. This happened back on June 15th. So he's on paid leave until the All-Star break, and this investigation could continue. Guys, do you think did you see the pitches that he threw and what they're investigating here?
They were awful. Honestly, I'm going to be careful on this, and I think we all should, because there really isn't something clear that's happened yet. Yeah. So I'm not in the case of if he did it or not. But in terms of the pitches that were being placed bets on, they weren't even remotely near the zone. So it's the whole situation is really weird. It's really weird.
You might as well, like, if you are going to be guilty and do that, and that's why I use the word investigation, by the way. Not he's allegedly, he could be involved in this, but like just bet on it 5 times and like aim outside corner and like maybe you lose one of them, but you're gonna win 4 more. Like if you're smart about it, like at least be like deceptive a little bit.
I mean, I just want to say on this, I think they said there's been, when Passan tweeted this out, I think he said there's been 760,000 pitches in Major League Baseball this year, and these were the only 2 that were flagged. And you look at them, I mean, one of them made it 45, 50 feet. It looked like if you were going to try to throw a ball on purpose and have the dude no opportunity to even chase the ball in the dirt, it looked like that's what you were going to throw. And I mean, too, everyone's kind of, you wonder like, oh, how do you just randomly flag this? I mean, if there's a lot of money, I mean, just before you can bet on the pitch velocity. This pitch can be over 95 miles an hour, 96 miles an hour. It's going to be a ball, whatever, strike. But it's being flagged because how bad the pitches were, but also because it hasn't been confirmed from at least from what I know, but there was large amounts of money on this that is normally not bet on these. That's why the reason it's flagged in the first place. And then you look at the pitch after that, and it's okay. Yeah, that looks really purposeful, especially. There was $15,000 in line for this, whatever the amount was. Obviously, it was high if it's getting flagged, but I just will say it does not look good. Obviously, it's innocent until proven guilty, but it does not look good. And if I would think he's guilty here.
Yeah, I mean, there was a clip of him striking out Anthony Volpe. It wasn't like there was runners on base. He screamed the F word after he struck out Anthony Volpe, which is just kind of weird. Yeah,
that's bad.
And two, like
that's
the maybe
so
like
bad.
the first one is like, I don't even think it matters about the pitch. It's the amount of money or the amount of bets that were placed on the pitch. The pitch you could show, like, it doesn't as much matter. Like, it'd be right down the middle. But the fact that people are betting a Luis L. Ortiz ball strike, most people watching this probably don't even know what team he played on coming into this. The fact that people were placing bets on it is wild.
I'm glad you brought up the point.
2 of them were flagged in almost 700,000.
You would be surprised.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because if you're going to bet on,
you'd be surprised what people would bet on.
I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, if you're going to bet on it, you think you'd bet on like a Paul Skeens or a Tarek Skubal. Who the hell is betting on Luis Ortiz to throw a
Luis
ball?
L. Ortiz? Really? Yeah. Like I said, we're not saying he did it or whatever, because there's a lot that needs to come out about it. But the fact that 2 of them were flagged out of over 250,000 bets that were placed. By the way, gambling in sports, I could get into a whole nother topic. The fact that it is so publicized and advertised in our game is ridiculous, to be completely honest. And if he is guilty and was doing it, completely just shameful. The fact that he was in on it or he was telling people to do it, it's not good for the game. Like, it's not at all. And the fact that, like I said, 2 were flagged out of over 250,000 is weird, especially for a guy like Luis L. Ortiz.
Yeah. I'm looking to go see what Luis L. Ortiz contract is. I should have looked this up before. But, I don't know if he's involved or not. Obviously we don't. He's on a 1-year sub $800,000 salary. So this guy's not a well-played player compared to his peers. Still making a lot of money. I don't know. Hopefully he didn't make a really, really dumb decision to do this. The last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, coming up on an hour, and I think we could have a good conversation about this. So, eye-popping stat of the week. Cal Raleigh matches Ken Griffey Jr. with 35 home runs before the All-Star break. And this is a Seattle record. Obviously has an opportunity to break it before the All-Star break begins. We're talking about that Ken Griffey did this in 1998. We are talking prime time Ken Griffey Jr., what Cal Raleigh is doing right now. I want people to let that sink in, because we just say he's having a great season, and we never we'll compare him right now to like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, how they're doing home run wise. We are talking he's on Ken Griffey Jr., prime Griffey Jr. Seattle days level, like numbers right now. That's how good Cal Raleigh Jr. has been. Guys, um, what are the odds that Cal Raleigh Jr. takes AL MVP, especially given the fact that the Yankees they're trending the wrong way in the standings, and the Mariners are, I feel like, only getting healthier. Like I'm not saying they're a lot better, and the Yankees are playing the Mariners this week head to head, so good time to have this conversation. Hey, you want to start us off?
I love Cal Raleigh, and I know it's very good what he's doing, especially catching pretty much every single day. But I mean, there's no way in hell in my mind that Aaron Judge does not win this MVP. I mean, I posted today he's on pace to have the best WAR since 1927 Babe Ruth. It would place him as the fifth best WAR of all time, behind the four ahead of him, all Babe Ruth in the 1920s, better than 2002 Barry Bonds. I mean, if you just look at the base numbers too, I mean, the home runs is really the only thing that Raleigh's going to have him on. I mean, they're on pace for both 133 RBIs. Raleigh will have him by 5 stolen bases if that pace is out the same way. But I mean, Judge is almost batting almost 100 points higher than him. His on base is 80 points higher than him. His slugging is 70 points higher than him. It's WRC plus. He's 60 points higher than him. Judge is putting up a historic season. When this is all said and done, you could argue Aaron Judge is having one of the best seasons in Major League Baseball history, and arguably the best season since Barry Bonds retired. And I think a lot of people just want to say, "Oh, Cal Raleigh's doing this. He's going to pass Judge in home runs. He should do this, especially with the defensive value he brings." But dude, Aaron Judge is still a great defender this year. I mean, he's grading out a very, very good defender. You can't just hit alone and have the WAR be that high. You have to have great defense to back that up too if you're going to put up a 13 WAR season. But Judge is a lock in my mind. He's been a lock since April, honestly. That's how good he's been this season. But Cal Raleigh, if he was in the National League, I think he'd be the MVP. It just sucks that he has Aaron Judge in front of him.
Ethan, any strong thoughts on the?
I mean, I think like to Hagen's point, I said it just like 40 minutes ago with Toby. I think if Aaron Judge is not in the AL, I think Cal Raleigh cakewalks to an MVP, especially if the Mariners do make the playoffs. Yeah, this guy has 35 home runs. Aaron Judge still has 33. Aaron Judge actually coming in today was hitting 360 with 33 home runs. Aaron Judge, and I understand Kyle Raleigh's on this pace. I still think that Aaron Judge is probably going to have more home runs than Kyle Raleigh. He'll probably have a higher WRC plus. He'll probably have more RBIs. He'll have a higher OBP, higher average, higher everything. Kyle Raleigh, we're not taking away from how good he's been, but in terms of like the MVP conversation stuff, I don't know if you could really say that. I mean, like I said, I think Aaron Judge, even offensive numbers, is still smoking him. I think just Kyle Raleigh being a catcher helps him a lot, and maybe there's some voter fatigue in there, to be completely honest with you, because Aaron Judge's MVP favorites have been crazy. I think Hagen and I were talking about it like 3 weeks ago. It was like minus 20,000. There was no money to be made on it, but I just think that the season that Aaron Judge is still putting up is unbelievable. And I think you could probably say it's getting overshadowed with Kyle Raleigh being that good this year.
Yeah, and when I posed this question, I didn't want to come off as the biased Yankee fan, be like, Aaron Judge is going to definitely win it. Like, there's no question. But, like, it would be really hard, even given the defensive statistics with Cal Raleigh right now. But Cal Raleigh, like, people got to know, like, this isn't like, he's just hot. He's having that great of a season right now. Like, he probably will be, if we look at top most home runs in a season by a catcher. Do you guys know who it is? Is it Piazza?
It's Salvador Perez.
I thought it was Salvador Perez.
Salvador Perez.
I think he hit like 47.
He'll smoke that.
Yeah, he might smoke this record. And you're absolutely right. So it's 48 home runs by Salvador Perez. This was 2021. I should remember that. So Johnny Bench had it before that with 1945. And people consider Johnny Bench forever the best hitting catcher ever. So, like, Cal Raleigh's 10 home runs away from that, essentially, already. Kind of crazy stuff.
And I'm glad Ethan brought up just like the betting odds of things. And I know that part of the betting odds also has to do with the handle and how much money is bet on where to determine the odds and all this stuff. But they also do a good job of getting the odds right and kind of giving you a good percentage on what's really likely to happen and stuff like that. I mean, right now, FanDuel has Aaron Judge at minus 1,600 to win the MVP. For people who don't know betting odds, that gives him a 94% probability to win the award. And if you look a month ago, he had a 99.7% chance to win the award. So his odds have drastically dropped from minus 10,000 to minus 1,600. I mean, I think historically too, catchers kind of slow down a little bit in the second half. I'm not saying Cal Raleigh's going to do that, but it's something to keep in mind. I just I love the Cal Raleigh talk, and he deserves all of it to be in this MVP conversation. But he's in the conversation, but he's not the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, just to back Judge real quick one more time, there are currently 3 players in Major League Baseball that have over a 600 slugging percentage. Number 3 is Shohei Ohtani at 610, Kyle Raleigh at 640. Aaron Judge's is 734. Not only is he doing it in terms of hitting home runs, he's probably going to be on pace for probably the most total bases in a season. What he's doing is unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just list all the reasons why I'm wrong. While we're on. But no, fair point. Judge is just, dude, he's unreal. But
so good.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we hop off? We're right now at the hour mark.
I think it was Detroit Tigers are 24 or 27 games over 500, first time since 2013. The Detroit Tigers have been crazy good, and they just absolutely manhandled my team. So you got to give them kudos. They've been so good this year.
I just want to say it's DeGrom Day. Go tune into that. It's the second inning of that game, so go tune into that. And the Colorado Rockies have a negative 229 run differential, as we see here on July 7th.
How many wins do they have?
They're 21 and 69.
Oh my God.
That's so tough. All right. Well, all right.